Good morning, everybody, and welcome to a very early Talking Horses. Jackson Muniz joining us today for the first time. Welcome to New York.
Hey, thanks for having me on, Andy. Really excited today, and as you said, first time in New York, and we got a really good card today.
We did. We actually did this just for you.
Yeah, I love it. Thank you.
I told Rob that you were coming in, and he said, well, we'll have to have a special card. In fact, we canceled for an entire week, not because it was cold in anticipation of you coming for the show. We've got a lot to talk about, so we'll keep the banter to a minimum. Head over to Naira Bets. You know the drill, bonus 200. Sign up bonus, nairabets.com. We have a $200 match bonus. Play through Naira Bets. You know, bet any track, anywhere, anytime. You know the story. We have a $20 bonus today on Oaklawn at Aqueduct. If you bet 100 or more on each, you get a $20 bonus. Opt in for that. Of course, we'll be showing Oaklawn on our show today. We're on from 3 to 6:30 today. That doesn't include the Southwest, as they have stakes today also, as they brought back their first Saturday card today. We have a cross-country Big Five, which will involve a lot of stakes. The Southwest is on there. The Withers is on there. Their overnight stake there as well. A couple races here, a couple races there, 3 races there. And all of those races will be on America's Day at the Races from 3 to 6:30 on FS2. So as we start off the action, it's the return of Mo 88. And for people that are sort of wondering, as we take a look at his last performance, how he gets in a race like this, he's a New York bred. So he gets in with a restricted condition. He can run with Donner as a 1. The real question with Mo 88, Jackson, is who is he? Because if he's this horse, he's a contender in grade 1s this year.
Yeah, it just depends. If he can replicate that performance from last time, he's going to win by the length of the stretch as he did before. The question is, as you said, is he that same horse? And that's what we're here to find out today. The issue is he can regress, 10, 15 points off that most recent race and probably still win. So I'm not really against him in here, but I did want to take a small stand against him.
Yeah, it's a tricky thing, and it is worth noting, we had a very severe gold rail yesterday, and also a situation where horses were having trouble making up ground.
Right.
Now, it's a problematic situation with this kind of weather, how much work they can do on the racetrack. I did talk to our track super, and we'll see if they can, get more of a handle on the track, and sometimes there's not a lot you can do given the weather, and obviously he's not a horse that has a lot of early speed, so he could be compromised on that track. And the question is sort of, where do you want to go if you want to go against him? You've gone to Reynolds Channel.
Yeah, I just thought this was an interesting alternative to the big favorite in here, and I really liked his last couple races because he was able to close into this pretty slow paces in those spots. And I think what I liked the most is in each of those races on the turn, he was just waiting and waiting behind horses for an extended period of time. I think both of those spots he was behind horses for 3 furlongs or so. Finally got through in the stretch and was able to pull away, especially in that most recent race. And I just wonder if this is a timely claim for Amelia Green, as horses maybe living up to the potential he showed early on in his career, hoping he can go in the right direction and take another step forward today.
Well, we were just talking about Lee Einsiedler, and this was a horse originally with Lee, actually, and they finally gave up on him. I thought the rail was good last time. It helped him in his last start. I was in a different direction. I mean, I guess the 8, Prince Valiant's the speed. He's just a little hard to make, but I guess his very best race, though, on a muddy track last year, made him the horse to beat. But if you have yesterday's track, is he the potential clear speed in here?
He is by far the clear speed. If I'm looking at the time for him, he's going to be in front by 2 or 3 lengths. And it's tough to, we talked about this yesterday, it's tough to predict whether it's going to be a good rail again or not. I don't know if I want to be necessarily counting on it to happen again, but he's very dangerous even without the rail just because he's going to be loose.
I don't disagree with that. I thought Butta would run a little bit better in here. I've got him in my Matoli, who's run some reasonable races. Butta had serious trouble last time at the start, and I know he's buckled these comments. It's like using new words in the English language to describe things that have been going on for hundreds of years. But he did sort of knock it out of the gate that well. And, once he was sort of hopelessly beaten, Kendrick wasn't going to beat up on him. He tried to get him in the race. But he's run some decent races. I've got him second. And maybe he can be a little more forward if he breaks, but I'm not trying to beat the favorite. You are. Race number 2, there are a couple scratches in here. One horse that wasn't going to win, Sultry Last, no likely. The other one, Her Laugh. A lot of people felt she was a contender. We'll start with Lucille Ball, who you've left completely out. I mean, we've only got 2 of the 4 picks. She is the horse to beat, and on yesterday's racetrack, she's almost unbeatable. This was a huge performance, but it was a bias-aided performance.
Yeah, and that's ultimately why I left her out in this spot. I don't know how much confidence I want to have in her ability to replicate that race, because she not only was a big bias, but she also had things her own way on the front end. No one really challenged her. They didn't go that fast. She also had Lasix that day, and she's not going to be running with Lasix in this spot. So She was 4-5 in the morning line. She's going to be even lower than that now after
gonna be short,
scratches.
yeah.
So do I really want to be taking her at 2-5 in here? I wasn't so sure.
On yesterday's racetrack, though, doesn't she become almost impossible to beat?
Right.
That's the problem. So we'll see what we have here. We both went to the 4 Stonewall Star. I'll let you talk about her.
Yeah, look, if she runs to the race she ran last time on December the 13th, she's not going to win. It was a very similar trip.
Good call.
To the one that we're projected today. But the race 2 back was really good, and that was off a long layoff. She went up against Sterling Silver and Main Squeeze. Those are 2 really nice sprinters that would be contenders in this spot. And she kind of was in mid-pack, got the jump on the closers, and just got run down late by Sterling Silver. I thought it was a really strong performance that day. If she's able to run back to that race, she can be really tough in it.
I saw it the same way. I was looking at the race and thinking, I just don't want to land on Lucille Ball, who's the worst to beat. But I just feel like she's going to be super short in here. Who do I want of the others? And I agree. I thought Stonewall Stars, all the things you said are true. It was maybe as good a race she's ever run. It's not like she doesn't have past good races. And the other thing is, she can be a bit more forward.
Right.
So, it's not like she's dramatically compromised by the running style of Lucille Ball. Now, whether or not it's a gold rail is something you can't do anything about. Whereas a turnback like Our Daydreaming Girl, who's pretty good, she can win. Now, there's just Catherine. And I want to go back to her Bed of Roses from a long time ago, a year and a half ago, because I like to watch 17-to-1 shots. I bet they were much the best. She actually got eliminated at the start by the horse that beat her in this race, who got an absolute perfect trip to win the race. Well, she got eliminated at the start, made a big, wide, premature move, and ran an unbelievable race running second. She will win this race if the track is mildly fair and she runs this race. The problem is, how confident can you be that she's still capable of running this race?
Yeah, and the other worry I have for her is now that it's a 4-horse field, I mean, she's going to need some help up front, and she's going to really rely on Stonewall Star to go pressure Lucille Ball. I'm hoping that's the case. I hope they go with the 4 and it can set up for a horse like the 1 as well, but I don't know. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I know. You don't know how the track is playing. You don't know. I mean, small fields, people get in trouble in small fields, and I think the last thing they want to do with Lucille Ball is try to back it down or something, and turn it into a final quarter race. Use her speed.
Yes,
that's her weapon in here,
absolutely.
and make all these horses play her game, and we'll see what happens. Race number 3. I found this race to be a bit of a mess. It's a bring-back race from at least one time, and I don't think either one of us is winning if we have yesterday's racetrack. You've picked the 9 Nance.
Yeah, the 9 would have a lot of trouble being stuck on the outside in this post. But I really liked his last couple races. I think the race 2 back on the November the 29th came on a day where the rail was just golden, and he was always on the outside. He was wide the whole way. Actually made this really big move on the turn to get into contention. Kind of flattened out late in the stretch. I thought that was a good effort for a horse that I've been waiting for him to cut back, and he finally did last time. And I thought he ran a lot better going the 7. He was right behind a fast pace. He chased. Again, he kind of made a middle move to get the lead at the top of the stretch, and he just got run down late by the favorite, who got a perfect trip in there. So I really like that he's cutting back an additional furlong. I think this is a horse that might be at his best going the 6 because he's been having trouble seeing out those longer distances.
And I think they were running him longer because he's a Tapit.
Sure.
And their pedigrees only matter so much. We'll see. I didn't love his races overall, but I had a lot of trouble here. And I think, one of the questions about this race is, what happens with Gypsy Dreaming, who ran this big figure in the mud last time? Now, is she going to get loose from Cool Hand Rich? Isn't Gomez supposed to send Cool Hand Rich from the inside? A horse that ran one race that gives him at least an outside chance, and he's got to be aggressive. And if he's not, then Gypsy Dreaming gets loose in here, and even on a fair racetrack, it makes him dangerous. My problem is he's got back races. It's not like that race came out of nowhere, but I just couldn't take it at total face value.
I agree, and I think what you said was he got loose last time. He had a 3-length lead going down the backside. I just don't see how that's going to happen today. But as you said, the 1 is very quick. The 8 to the outside, Celtic Prince was on the lead as well in his last race. I find it unlikely, given who's in this field and given what happened yesterday as far as the racetrack goes, that he's going to have things his own way.
Right. Well, Kendrick is going to do what he can to get clear. The question is Gomez going to hold his position in there? I wanted to pick Lean Music Machine. We'll show his race 2 back. And he actually beat a bias in this race. It was a super contentious pace that fell apart. It's kind of what happens when you have the extreme biases. Suddenly everybody's sending and horses are creating, false fast paces. But he did run well, and I actually thought he ran very well. We saw Spirit Dragon come back and win yesterday, albeit riding the gold rail. But he did come back and win off the claim. And he seems to be in good form for Bill Morey, but he is another horse that has no speed, even though I picked another horse that has no speed. But I think this horse is dangerous. Are you a fan or not a fan?
Yeah, absolutely. And as you said, that race that he won was the most impressive because he was 5 wide the whole way on a day when the rail was really good, and he followed up with an even better effort last time. So if he can get some pace up front, he should be closing.
Yeah, these are hard. I don't want to deviate from picks dramatically, assuming a bias. Obviously, as a player, you adjust during the day, and if it looks out the first couple races like we have a track like yesterday, you don't bet as much on your picks, or you have to mitigate things. Hard to say. I don't know what hard to say's price is going to be. I know there's a very shrewd claim by Linda Rice. The numbers claiming off of Robbie Medina, while there's not a substantial amount, they're pretty good, and they're probably not claims made by Linda. Linda's sharp. I thought this horse might just be the right Linda horse coming in here, so I've kind of chalked it out and I picked this horse. But I think all our horses are in trouble on yesterday's track. The Toboggan, race number 4, is a bring back. Maximus Meridius, as you point out to me, just ran the other day at Parks. For those of you that liked him today, they did you a favor because apparently didn't do any running there at all. And I think him being out of the race changes things a lot. And let me ask you a weird question. Does him being out of the race really help a horse like Light the Way, who could be the inside speed? Aragona likes this horse. I didn't particularly like him, but I'll tell you something. With the if the track is like yesterday, he could be the controlling speed. And even on a fair racetrack, he could be the controlling speed.
Yeah, he absolutely could. He's been on the lead his last 7, 8, 9 starts. He's always on the front end, and there's not a ton of speed in here. I guess
Not
outside of
7.
Victory Way might go pressure him, but other than that, there's just really not much speed. The issue for him is he seems to have gone off form a little bit. He's not been nearly as fast as the last few races.
He ran okay last time, though. His last race is, I think, a little bit better than it looks. Okay. That was a fairly contentious pace. He was off of the rail, though. Doc Sullivan is kind of the horse in here now at this point, and I don't have a big knock on him. He's certainly fine at 7 furlongs. We'll take a look at his last race. He's held his form. He's run well against better horses, and he's fairly logical, and he draws the rail. And, I don't think he has a ton of speed, but I don't think Ricardo's going to let him get lost out there.
No, yeah, he'll be up on the pace as well. Do you think he's going to be favored in here? That was my issue with him, just because I don't think he really has a huge advantage over everyone else in this race. I think he's about as likely to win as the rest of the field. So
I don't know. It's a good question. I think I don't know. David has him a slight favorite. I actually think this horse is going to be favored here, BU.
Yeah.
It doesn't have Flavian, who's riding at Oaklawn today. We'll take a look at BU's last race where he got put up, and he was badly fouled in there. I think people are going to love this horse more than they should. They see he ran second at Knightsbridge, who looks like the second coming down in Florida. And so I wondered if he'd be favored. People love these deep closers, but I'll tell you something, even on a fair racetrack, his running style is not complemented by the dynamics of this race.
Right, and as you said, he's not supposed to get the setup that he got last time, or the start 2 back, or the start even 3 back. He's gotten really good setups his last few races.
He's run very well.
He has, but it just, his speed figures are about on par with what everyone else in this field has been running, and I just don't know if he's going to get the same trip in the spot.
So you're gonna go in the camp that Nation, as a 6-year-old, is a completely new horse, because my God, has he improved for these connections.
I don't know where these last 2 races came from, but he has gotten really good in a hurry. That race.
This isn't a California thing, is it? This isn't like
because he got
your
way
opportunity
better.
to pick a California horse.
He got way better
show.
when he left California. So this
happens,
It does happen.
Could happen to you.
We never know. That race at Churchill was really good. It came on Claiming Crown Day. It's always a really strong field for that level, and he dusted that field. I mean, he romped. I don't know where it came from. Got a 97 buyer that day, and I was kind of skeptical whether he would be able to replicate that. But then he went over to Turfway on the synthetic, and I thought he ran just as well. He was kind of in a tough spot where the horse that ended up winning got loose. I think the rider decided, in the second quarter, he had to go try to put some pressure on him. And it just didn't quite work out, but he ran really well. It was second best and ran a very similar number in that.
I'm curious to see what he does. I couldn't pick him in here. Listen, even over an Ollie finally ran a good race last time. He didn't even do it loose in the lead. I like Victory Way. I'm kind of sorry with the scratch. I thought he'd be in a good stalking position. Yeah. I liked his last race a lot. And the more I looked at him and looked through, I think he's always hinted at being a pretty good horse. I know he's getting older too, but it feels like he's kind of putting it together. I thought his Acoustic Avenue race in Saratoga was very good. I don't know why they ran him at a mile on the turf after that, but then they put him in the right spot last time. I thought he ran very well. I know Vetriano's tailed off, but Vetriano was in good form back then. And I thought his race was good, and I think he can be forward. I don't believe he'll have the lead, but I think he can be forward.
But isn't that the exact same trip he's going to get? The one he got last
Yes.
time, chasing Vetriano, just stalking the outside. I mean, he's going to get the exact same trip with the way this pace projects in today's race.
I'm kind of hoping he's kind of turned the corner and moved forward, so I've taken him as a kind of now horse.
Yeah.
Move on to race number 5. And we'll take a look at the race that Turn and Count was disqualified in, because I love watching races that cost me a lot of money. I thought that Interceptor really ran very well in here. I'm not saying Turn and Count didn't run well, because he did. But Interceptor was the one who was prevented from going forward, and that was really the main reason for the disqualification. As I think Reynolds Channel's coming up the rail in this race, as he seems to like to do. He's the number 7 is Turn and Count. And actually, yes, in between horses Interceptor. The worry with Turn and Count is he's such a severe lug-in horse. Man, is he a tough horse to ride.
Yeah, and you even go back to his other win in his career. He did the exact same thing. It was going a mile, and the entire stretch he's lugging in, lugging in, lugging in. And as you know, this race is going 9 furlongs, and I think as the distances get longer, that's going to become even more of an issue as they're getting more tired late in the race.
Yeah, I don't trust him. I think he can win. I don't trust him in a mile and an eighth. I like Interceptor, who, in my opinion, he just got shuffled out last time.
Yeah.
I don't really know what happened exactly. He was wide. I think the rail was at least a bit of an advantage that day. He got completely shuffled out. He kind of re-rallied at the end of the race. And I think they've got to keep him a little bit closer. And maybe at a mile and an eighth, it'll be easier for May to keep him closer. You're taking a completely different horse in Blown Cover.
Yeah, I'm going to blown cover in here, and I think my opinion in this race is that the pace is just not going to be very fast outside of blown cover and I guess Complex Agenda. Those two really seem to control this pace. And I thought he ran well last time. He faced off against Complex Agenda. He broke really well. Didn't make the front, but he was stalking 3 wide behind a fast pace, was wide on each turn, and ran well to get second in there, and lost to Neon Bordeaux, who we're going to talk about later on the card. That horse just hugged the rail the entire way through and got a
he was
phenomenal ride.
Very
from,
fortunate.
Yeah,
fortunate.
he was. And this horse was actually getting that to the winner late again, despite being, that horse getting the jump, and he was wide. And so I think given today's projected pace flow, if he's able to run the race he ran last time, he should be very tough in here.
I think he can. Listen, I didn't particularly like him. I don't love the race he's coming out of, but Ruben is a very reliable, aggressive rider.
Yeah.
And with the rail in this race, good luck to the 6. If he breaks, good luck to the 6 clearing him. He's supposed to be the inside speed. And even in a fair racetrack, he can win this race. I was trying to make all sorts of cases here. I was trying to make a case for Corvino, who Linda brings in off the claim. And the horse that really I wonder about is the 8 Apalta. Because Apalta looks absolutely ridiculous in this spot. And this is the kind of horse that you expect Linda to enter and scratch. But the interesting thing was this is at least the second time we've tried to run this race.
Right.
And Linda's entered this horse both times. So she is determined to run this horse in a race that she's absolutely not good enough to be competitive, or he's not good enough to be competitive paper. Yet Linda keeps entering him. Now, he didn't draw particularly well in this race, and obviously he's going to need a fair track. And he can't win this race off his last race. What the hell is he even doing in this spot? And it seems like Linda does pretty well in the what the hell are they doing in this spot situation, because she's always ready to scratch.
Right. And it's a fair question to ask, because you look at his last 3 races, I mean, they're way, way too slow. So as you said, why is he here?
Other
It
than his
doesn't make
debut,
sense.
he has no chance to
Yeah.
win, and that was 6.5 furlongs. So he's kind of one of these, what is he doing in here? I kind of want to give him another look at a big price, because the kind of horse, like you say after the race, oh, well, Linda was smart enough to run here. She was smarter than we were. As we come upon the ladies, and the ladies is the 3rd opportunity. If we hadn't canceled on a day we shouldn't have canceled on, we would have run this a few weeks ago. They're finally running it, but it is a different race for the favorite weigh the risks, and we'll take a look at her last race in the Go for One, where Scalable finished 2nd. I did think the rail was an advantage. She is very good, but my question is whether or not at a mile and an eighth, stalking, in all likelihood, Bernie takes charge, she's going to be as good. I picked her, but kind of have some reservations in my mind.
Yeah, I really wanted to try to beat her in here, but I think at the end of the day, she's just simply too fast, or she's better than these. She's probably going to win. But I did have the same question as you, because she got significantly better, I think, when they cut her back to 1 turn. And it wasn't like she was bad when she was running the 2 turns But it was
Well, she got
it
a
was-
sloppy track on the two-turn race. That's the problem.
That's fair. But even the grass races, I think they were okay. It seemed like she wasn't really finishing off those races as well as she was.
Might
once
have
they
been
cut
a
her back.
mistake for Chad to leave her on the turf as long as he did, especially considering he only said to me about 80 times, I think she's a dirt horse.
And he ran her on the grass. a
Well,
few times.
unfortunately, we ran her on the dirt on Derby weekend and it poured.
Yeah.
But, you know, it took a while to sort of come around that maybe you want to try her on a dry track. Interestingly enough, the only time she's lost in the dry track is to Bernie Takes Charge, who she meets here. And what also is interesting about it, and Bernie Takes Charge is not fast enough to beat her on her good races. We'll show Bernie Takes Charge last race. And people say, well, she was fast enough to beat her going a mile and an eighth here. Was it a mile and an eighth? No, a mile. Mile. When she beat her Way to Risk, it was a super, super, super gold rail. And Way to Risk had to chase on the outside, and she had everything go her own way. My question is, what if we have a gold rail again today? Isn't she going to have the same advantage?
She will. She absolutely will. She's going to be in front in this race, and that is her edge in here. She has to be aggressive. You just mentioned last race, Silvera's on her. She's going to be in front in here. And she, you know, I know her last couple of races weren't that fast, but she does randomly pop up with a really, really fast race occasionally. And if the rail is good again, I don't see why she can't be really tough for the favorite to run down.
And her race 2 back is a lot better than it looks because she got involved in a ridiculous pace scenario that fell apart at the end, and she ran extremely well. So I do think she's dangerous. And, you know, it's interesting. David's got her at 6-1. Is she really going to be a bigger price than Scalable?
I hope so. I don't know. I think with the rail yesterday and with the pace scenario, I think people will probably it'll even out. I think it'll be about the same come post time.
And well, you also have to wonder how the track's playing. I think if we have a fair racetrack, the money will adapt to it a little bit. So she's going to probably need a bias to beat Way the Risks.
Yes.
Obviously, I hope Way the Risk runs well. We'll see what I'm not a big Scalable fan going longer. I think she's a decent horse. I wonder if she gets better with more distance, though.
Well, because she was running longer early in her career, and I agree. I think once
She
they
ran
cut
okay
her
in some of them.
right, but I do think once they cut her back to one turn, she did get better than she was doing going to 2 turns. And given the projected pace flow in here, I think she's a bit up against it.
The horse I'm kind of interested in seeing run is Purloin, who hasn't been entered in this race before, because her last race was really good. She's got to get a lot better, but Linda's being aggressive with her as well. And I guess she's trying to find out where she belongs and maybe get some black type of being third. We'll take a break, come back with a late pick 5.
You bet with Naira Bets. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. Download the Naira Bets app to play today and get a $200 deposit bonus. Watch live horse racing. Get expert picks. Boost your bankroll with weekly promotions and hone your handicapping skills with exclusive tips and tutorials. Download the Naira Bets app now. Sign up now to claim your $200 deposit match bonus. You bet with Naira Bets.
Welcome back to Talking Horses. Jackson and Andy, race number 7, kicking off the pick 5. I think you and I agree here. And Chelsea, do you mind switching the replay since we'll start off with the horse we like? We'll take a look at Mr. Holden. So why are you also taking this synthetic horse to win this race?
I'm hoping he's 8-1 here, because me betting him in this spot is contingent on him being a decent price.
It should be a decent price. A pretty tough race.
Right, and you know he's run plenty of numbers on that surface that make him maybe the favorite in here if he's able to
transfer it.
Yeah, to transfer that form over to the dirt. And it wasn't like it was a one-off number. He ran multiple races that are good. He did it on slow paces. He did it on fast paces, 1 turn, 2 turns. This horse is in really good form right now. He's kind of a win machine. I think if you're able to get 8-1, that's a good gamble if he's able to transfer his form.
His pedigree, you look through the horses he's related to, they seem to be equitalented on dirt and synthetic. So I'm, from that standpoint, he's supposed to be able to handle it. He's got a solid work coming into it. I would imagine, I feel like I looked it up, that he had works on the train track at Woodbine as dirt, and he probably worked well enough to bring him down here. And I agree with you. And I thought he'd be a bigger price. And the other thing is, okay, this horse, Skylander, is one of the favorites. I do think he's the horse to beat. I don't have on a fair racetrack. He's probably the horse to beat it here. He drops down to the bottom level. On the other hand, he's a horse that's been at the bottom before. He wanted the bottom. He got good. He held his form. He lost his form. They dropped him again. He refound it. At some point, there's a reason they keep dropping him the bottom, and at some point that reason's going to rear its ugly head. So while I think he's kind of the horse to beat, I don't wholly trust him.
Yeah, I have him in second here. I agree he's the horse to beat. I just feel like this is a realistic drop for him. Like they lost last time slightly better. They're going to the bottom. They're going to try to get a win for him. And that was a good field he faced for the level. There's already been 3 running backs, and 2 have come back to win. So it wasn't like that was a bad group last time.
No, and he's going to be claimed, though. And I think he's got better form than necessarily to run at the bottom. That worries me. I think he's the horse to beat on a fair racetrack. I put Mr. Ripple second. You have Mr. Ripple nowhere. It's interesting. I believe that he was entered in this race originally when it was split divisions. So hard to remember all the cancellations. Then we brought it back as one race. And I don't think that Miguel re-entered him. But now he's back in here. He was bad last time, but he could win a race like this from memory. But I don't know how much we can trust him. But he is making a severe drop, and he could just be better than these horses.
Yeah, I think this is the one favorite on the day I'm most excited to bet against. His most recent race, that was a week really where the rail was just dead, and he was on the best part of the track the whole time. He did not run a step in that spot, and I felt like last time they were kind of dropping him in for 30, didn't run at all, and now they're really plummeting him all the way to the bottom. Kind of just feel like they're hoping for anything to happen in this race.
I agree. I just feel like these kind of drop downs do tend to work out. There's supposed to be a pace in this race. I mean, you've got speed from Aaliyah. You've got speed towards the outside from Bar 14, he's kind of a gotta-go horse. So they're supposed to be moving a little bit up front in this race. And even on yesterday's racetrack, making Aaliyah the winner seems hard. I suppose if Bar 14 got loose, he could win. He's done that before, but I don't see him getting loose from Aaliyah. How can they rate that horse?
No, they can't. I mean, you're 20 to 1. You got a speed horse. Your one shot is to go. I would imagine the 3 is going to be fully sent at the front here, and it does feel like there's other speed. Stop the spread is quick as well. It does feel like a race that's going to set up for someone from off of it.
All right, we'll see what happens in race number 7, which is a pretty competitive, interesting race. Race number 8, the bring back of the Ruthless, and I think it's a 2 to maybe 3 horse race in here. We'll start with the horse that you have on top, and I have Schilling. I don't have any argument against her. She's the horse to beat.
Yeah, I wasn't in love with this pick in this race. I just felt like she was the fastest horse in the field that's supposed to get a really good trip. And last time, I feel like you can kind of excuse a Demoiselle. And
I don't think she ran that badly.
I thought she ran fine. I mean, you got a nice, talented 2-year-old filly that might have Kentucky Oaks aspirations. You got to try 2 turns and see what happens.
She could have it's Kenny McPeek. She could have
that's fair.
Actually, aspirations or Coronation Cup.
She had the lead going to the top of the stretch and just got a little tired late. And I just think she's going to be better suited going back to 7 furlongs. And she drew outside of her main speed rival in here. So
I agree. Now, in yesterday's racetrack, I think we both kind of have to move up the 2 interstate love song because she's going to be loose. The problem is she's got to get a little bit faster, but I don't think she has to get that much faster. That if you have yesterday's racetrack, I think it makes her very dangerous in this race, right?
Agreed. And I wasn't in love with her race last time. I thought she got a really easy lead. She was 2-5 and got the job done. I will say the 3rd place finisher did come back and win on Wednesday, so maybe that race is a little stronger than we thought originally.
Tony's horse, right.
And as you said, or as we've been talking about, there's just not a lot of speed outside of the 2 and the 7, so maybe they just kind of back it down up front and turn it to a sprint for home.
Yeah, she becomes a lot more dangerous on a biased racetrack in here. I went to 2 bits. I really like the Busanda, and maybe I just want the Busanda to be the race it was for the winner. Yeah. But, I mean, you look at her recent figs, they're all good enough to win this race. She's fast enough. She's going to struggle on a track like yesterday because not only is she compromised by her running style, the horses that she has to beat are more forward. Now, even on a fair racetrack, maybe they're just going to have better trips than her. But I thought she's been quietly improving, and I was hoping that Jamie Rodriguez could get her at least a little bit closer. And I took her as a horse maybe with some upside. But the truth is, maybe at 2 to 1, she's not a particularly great play.
Yeah, and look, I think the hope for her is that the 2 and 7 both really are dead set on getting the lead. They go a little too fast, and that falls into the lap of 2 bits. But
good luck to that happening around here.
Yeah, I have no argument that she's fast enough to win this race.
Our Golden Gator, you have second, is kind of an interesting horse in this race. I'll let you talk about her first.
She just feels like maybe she's the unknown, and I think if you're trying to make a case against the 2 favorites in here, 2 Bits and Schilling, like they've kind of run the same numbers. They've been very slowly improving, but not significantly. And I don't think we necessarily know what our Golden Gator is at this point. She only ran the 1 race at Parks, and she closed from dead last. she was last early. She made an early move to get into contention and ran down a loose leader, and the number came back okay. And I just think it's interesting that they're willing to take a shot in a race like
There's
this.
no killers in this race.
Yeah.
And, you know, I looked at her race and felt like she got a real education because you look at it, she broke slow. She looked like she was green early, didn't know what she was doing, and it felt like the light sort of went off during the running of the race for her. And she ran down a loose leader, a horse that was way in front. Now, that horse was getting the staggers late in the race. But still, I mean, I thought it was a good race by her. I agree. I gave her a long look in here. And it's not like her fig is that far off it with a little bit of improvement second time out. And I thought being the way she ran like a horse that would probably run better with a little bit of experience. We'll see what happens in the Ruthless, race number 9, another bring-back race, though the post positions are different. Actually, the horse I liked in this race is one of the few that didn't come back in it. I liked Whittingham Park. And the horse that you and I picked in this race had, and this is Landora, we'll look at him winning 2 races back, going a mile. He had the rail, and Chillax had an outside post, and now he draws the outside post. But I don't know about you. I didn't think there was that much speed inside of him, and I thought that Manny could get him over pretty quickly behind the speed of the 6, Georgia Magic.
Yeah, and I agree. I've liked him a little better when he was drawn on the rail, but maybe with him having the tempos, it's just going to end up helping our price. And as you said, there's really not a lot of speed in here outside of a horse like Georgia Magic. I mean, I think the plan is you just break and you follow Georgia Magic, and you're too wide, and you're going to be in the first or second or third early on. And I don't think they're going to go that fast up front.
I agree with all of that. You know, you look at Weightless did scratch, so it's one less horse he has to worry about, but he didn't have speed. Magical Ways doesn't really have speed, makes sense, not that fast. So I thought he'd be able at least to get over in this race and Georgia Magic. Listen, we both have Georgia Magic in there.
Yeah.
His last race was actually not that bad. That was a good field. And if we have yesterday's racetrack, he is very dangerous in here.
Yeah, the one concern I have, I think he might be a little bit better going a little shorter.
I don't disagree.
But he ran well
Ran well enough last time.
He tried to go after Double Your Money. It was a really good horse, another horse that won on the Claiming Crown Day over at Churchill Downs, and he took it to him and tried his best. He just wasn't quite as good as those rivals in that spot. But he's, that race, he was contesting the pace, pressured. He might be loose in here.
I actually thought long and hard about picking him. I didn't want to pick him because I didn't want to make Ray happy. Chillax is a funny horse, and we'll show him winning back in September at Churchill, and what makes it distinctive is his one win, but he's got those 4 seconds. And he has lost to some good horses, to be fair. Worthy Charge is pretty good, but he does have a Disruptor. Disruptor had a nice return last week, actually, at Tampa, if you missed it, cutting back. They've gelded him. He draws extremely well on the rail, so he should get the right kind of trip in there. But he has got a lot of hang in him. In this field, he beat at Churchill. I know the figure was good, but it was a hungry bunch.
Yeah,
I mean, he just couldn't help but win this race.
Agreed. And this is a much better field than what he faced that day for sure. And he also doesn't have a whole lot of early speed. And I know he does have the rail in here, but I just feel like he might be up against it. He's burnt a lot of money. To me, he's a favorite you're supposed to try to beat in here.
On a fair racetrack, a horse that I want to give a chance to is the number 8, Magical Ways, because he's not a winning type, but he has a plethora of dirt races that are fast enough to win here. I don't know what happened last time at Laurel. Obviously, he ran very badly. I assume he was moved at Rob when Rudy was suspended, and he's staying with Rob. He's got dirt races that are fast enough to win this. He's not winning on a biased racetrack, but on a fair racetrack, especially with a shaky speed, Georgia Magic, who probably doesn't want to go this far on a fair track. Magical Ways is a horse I think can get a big piece of this at a price.
Yeah, I don't hate it. The barn switch might wake him up a little bit. Blinkers are off. They're changing some things around for him, which I think is a positive because he's been settling for a lot of minor awards. He hasn't won in almost 2 years.
He has a lack of interest in winning, but he's kept his form, and his last race is really the only bad race he ran. The Derby Prep, the Withers coming up, and you can laugh all you want. The winner of the Withers 4 years ago won the Preakness. And this is an interesting race, and Chad Brown obviously has a strong hand. Now, here's my question for you. If you're Chad Brown, we look at Schoolyard Superman, are you hoping for yesterday's racetrack because it might hurt one of your horses, but it would significantly help this horse? And I know the track was probably a little in his favor last time. I'm not sure this horse isn't pretty good. And fair or not fair, he's going to be the controlling speed unless you horse. Did you like 4th and 1? He could put a lot of pressure on him. He's a little bit dangerous.
Yeah, he is.
We'll get to him in a minute.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, Schoolyard Superman, he ran really well in that race, and he kind of finally all put it together. He was running well on debut before he took the unfortunate fall, and then came back.
Right, he was going to win that race.
Right, I agree. Came back 2 back and didn't run quite as well, but maybe he just needed a little extra time, or maybe he was a little bit timid behind horses because when they got to the lead last time, you saw what he did. He was very impressive. the pedigree doesn't scream 2 turns to me.
I agree.
But visually, I think he looks okay. I mean, from what we've seen from him as an individual, I don't think it's going to be a huge issue.
Yeah, and I think being the inside speed is helpful. I was in Jamaica for his last race, and there was no reception. And I was trying to bet him last time because I couldn't believe he was 7-2, and of course I couldn't get
shut
through,
out.
so I remember
Yeah.
it well. And then there's Ottenau. Now, one of the reasons, it's funny, I thought David might change his morning line because Ottenau had Pratt when this race was originally drawn. And Ottenau, to me, is the horse you're betting more in the come. I thought he had a very good trip last time, but I think the horse he beat, Hadrian Wall, another Chad horse, is a very good horse. He's been second now behind 2 good Chad horses. This is a horse to have to gun runner. He's obviously got the potential to have an enormous amount of value. And I know that Chad always liked this horse. He had told me about this horse before he ever ran. He's pretty good.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, he's a half to gun runner. He's been very impressive. He's probably going to take a lot of money in here just because of all those reasons. But I thought the last race was good. He got hooked on the turn by a big long shot, put that one away. And as you said, Adrian's Hall came up to him at the stretch, probably put his nose in front. And I love the way he battled back and put that horse away at the end.
But he did have the advantage of being the speed in there, and it's not going to happen in here. So he's going to have to alter his running style. We'll take a look at 4th and 1's last race, and I'll let you talk about him. He's got to get a little faster.
He does have to get faster, and I will admit I liked him a little bit better last week when he had an inside post rather than the outside post. But I think the plan is still the same for him. The plan is you have to go. That's the way you're going to win this race. You're coming out of shorter races. Your best asset is your speed. You got to run this field off their feet.
I understand that. The problem is he's got the outside post in this race, and do you really think that Talk to Me Jimmy's not going to come out running at least a little bit?
Yeah, it's a
He's going to come out running a little bit.
Yeah.
Maleta could come out running a little bit. Even Ottenau comes out running a little bit.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's not the same to me as the race before, where the others don't have any speed. They have enough speed that they're going to really have to come out firing. Jamie's going to have to come out really riding this horse hard to clear them, and that concerns me a little bit with him. What about grittiness? Oh, by the way, Acacia, who likes it, it's Otino.
Otino?
It's Little Otto. Otino. Okay, thank you, Acacia.
Yeah, grittiness is interesting because he definitely comes out of the best race out of anyone in here in the Remsen. I think we're in agreement. That was a pretty strong field for that race, and he didn't get a great trip. He was so wide throughout that race, and I thought he ran well to finish. Split the field, and
I thought he ran okay.
Yeah.
I guess the question becomes, how confident are you in the Remsen?
Right.
And Renegade's running tomorrow in the Sam Davis, so we'll get a chance to see it. And obviously, a lot of us like Paladin.
Right.
But how confident are you that Paladin is the horse?
Right.
You look at him, he's got the mini Sierra Leone look with the connections, and with the route he's taking is the whole thing that Sierra Leone did. He's not Sierra Leone yet.
no. And it's not like this horse was close to him either. He was beaten almost 10 lengths in there. But I think the hope with grittiness is, as we've talked about, there is a lot of speed, at least on paper.
Potential
so
this
maybe
race could be at least an honest pace. I agree.
If this thing falls apart, isn't he the one you're supposed to be looking for late?
I agree, and he draws the rail, so they don't really have to do anything. Just let him
Yeah.
find his position. I don't disagree. I gave him a long look. I think he's a contender in this race. We'll see what happens in the Withers as we are. No, we got enough time here. Race number 11. I don't know what's going on with the 11 horse. Because he's was entering the stake, but he didn't have to scratch to run the stake, and the stake isn't being run until next week. I guess they want to run him in the Stallion Series into Hijinks, who came out of this race, was obviously a big player. Factory setting is sort of the horse you have to worry about. I didn't pick him on top. I think he's the horse to beat. I like him cutting back. I think he's better going shorter in this race. I thought his debut was okay. He kind of flattened out making a move last time. Yeah. But he's a horse that does not have a lot of speed.
That's the concern for her in here. And now with the 11 out, there's even less speed than there was.
And you think your
before.
horse is the speed?
I'm hoping my horse is a speed. I mean, she was on the lead at least going longer, and she does have an outside post, so that should at least make things a little easier if someone from the inside is just hell-bent on going.
Does it bother you at all that Rudy never ran this horse on the dirt? Because, yesterday Rudy ran with a horse he's been running on the turf, but he ran that horse once in the dirt, and I think he underestimated how well she ran, or he ran in that race. It bothers me that Rudy never ran this horse on dirt.
Yeah, and that's fair. I think looking at her pedigree, there is a lot of the siblings were just as good, if not better, on the dirt. And this is a move that Rudy is good at. The last 5 years, he's 17% going turf to dirt with maiden maiden runners, and that's from 90 starters.
Probably doesn't even include yesterday's number.
Probably doesn't include
so
yesterday's.
it includes a $16 horse from yesterday. Yeah, the second dam was a good dirt horse. I don't know, but this horse is very, with the 11 coming out,
Yeah.
I mean, depending on firsters, obviously, this horse could be the speed. And I think, you know, you've got a couple firsters that could be dangerous in the 3 and 5 in here. I took the number 1 in this race, Queen Sally. I'm interested to see how good that fig was. We can't find out. Galito was supposed to be running tomorrow, the horse who won the race, Galinda. Obviously, that race is postponed until next week, with tomorrow and Sunday being canceled. I thought this horse was very green first time out, and he ran like a horse, or second time out, that would run a lot better with a little more experience today, and maybe stretching out. Christopher can get him a little more in the game because he's going to need to.
And we did have a couple horses run back yesterday. They both improved by at least 15 points. They also both were on the rail the entire race. So I don't know how much stock you want to put into that.
Oh,
to
from
those
yesterday's
runbacks.
race?
From yesterday.
Okay.
It was Tenacious, or no, it was, yes, Tenacious Child came back and won the 5th race yesterday. She was the 4.
Oh,
on
right.
the lead.
Yeah, she looked pretty good.
She
I
did.
smoked her out at 4 to 5. That was a pretty good spot for her. Yeah, I'm just hoping this horse gets better. But I think the firsters merit a look in here, the 3 and 5. We both have the 10 in there somewhere, who I also thought ran okay in that race. I thought this horse had some room to improve off that race.
Yeah, and she took a little money in there. I mean, she
For
was
that,
13 to
those
1.
connections to be 13 to 1, when
Yeah.
you consider how much money the first and second horses took
Right.
for Miguel Clement and Linda Rice, this horse got bet.
Yeah, I think so too. I think she's a little interesting, and they paid a lot of money for her, so there are expectations here.
She had some pedigree. All right, Jackson, thank you very much. Appreciate it. Appreciate you watching today's 11 race card. 5 stakes on the card. We'll be on FS2 from 3 to 6:30. Head over to Naira Bets if you're not a member. Use the promo code BONUS200, and we'll match the $200 of your initial deposit. Play through Naira Bets. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. We have a $20 bonus if you bet 100 or more at Aqueduct and Oaklawn. So you're playing both them today. Opt in over at Naira Bets. $20 bonus. Cross country, pick 5. Race 3 from Oaklawn, 2 from here, including the Withers here, and 2 stakes at Oaklawn, including their Southwest. All those races will be shown on America's Day at the Races from 3 to 6:30 on FS2. You'll be joining us, I think, from 3:30 to 4:30 on the show. Thank you for joining us here. Thank you for watching. Chris Griffin's up next. Got a big day. He'll be up with a reprise, the scratches and changes.
You bet with Naira Bets. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. Download the Naira Bets app to play today and get a $200 deposit bonus. Watch live horse racing, get expert picks, boost your bankroll with weekly promotions, and hone your handicapping skills with exclusive tips and tutorials. Download the Naira